We'll probably cut this and make it into a full like release it as just a YouTube video,
Whoa.
as well as like Kiran Amegadjie breakdown first NFL action or something. But this one, we're looking at his inside out technique, which we've already touched on a little bit. He's very protective of that inside shoulder because even against a speed rusher, because he knows I got 36-inch arms and I'm strong.
Yeet.
Again, just throws him out the club.
Yep.
Simple as that.
That's awesome. I love that. And honestly, I know there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, his drop is weird. I know guys that have dropped like that. Go watch Joe Thomas's drop. Joe Thomas's drop was actually really similar. And he's that dude's, I think, in the Hall of Fame, or he should be in the Hall of Fame, or he will be in the Hall of Fame at some point.
His first ballot.
Yeah. So Joe Thomas dropped pretty vertically, like shoulder square vertically. But when you're a freak athlete, you can do that, especially when you have the big long arms, because you can just, and you got the guy, right? You don't have to turn your body as much to cover a guy necessarily because you just are an athlete. I like guys that can drop vertically like that because it just helps with your vision and it helps you just see the field better. You see if a guy's coming inside, you can see game. That helps with communication. Hey, game. You can come over, take that guy, and your guard knows, oh shit, something's coming back. You know, I like guys that can keep their heads up like that because it provides good vision.
All right, so on this next one, run block, I believe he's pulling outside. Or no, this one he's going inside on a run block and just clearing out space. I liked his hand placement on the hips. I wish there was a little more behind it, but
I wish he was lower.
It's fine. So you think his hand should be a little lower, like on that actual hip point there instead of the ribs? I can see that. But I thought he did a nice job getting up to the backer there and just like that's a nice big hole.
Yeah, just get in the way. I like that. I like that rep a lot from him. But again, I think here this is just another example. If he really gets his hands on Newton's hip, DJ Moore doesn't even pretend to be close to being touched for 10 yards.
Yeah.
Just a little lower. It doesn't need to be a lot lower. But you're taught as an offensive lineman. If there's next time, I encourage
right there.
Yeah,
he's swinging out.
Exactly. And he's moving and he's being covered up immediately by left guard because I can't tell who it is on this play. But you're taught. I encourage.
Yeah, with Tev power like that.
Yeah, he's toast then. I encourage anybody watching this. Go hang out with your buddies and say, hey, can I test something on you? Have them just stand up straight. Push them in the shoulder. Don't kill them. Don't hurt your friends. I'm not condoning violence. Don't hurt your friends. Just give them a nice little like shove, just like a little huh, and watch him just kind of do one of these, right? Like kind of like a punching bag. Do that to his hip and watch him move 3 feet. If you move a guy's hip, everything is attached to the hip. You got to move the hip. That's why I wish if he comes off a little lower, it means his aiming point is a little lower. It means his hands are a little lower. He moves that swing. Again, this is still a good rep. I'm being super overcritical here, but that's what I would like to see moving forward, right? That's a part of that development process. But overall, not a bad rep. Very happy with the outcome. And obviously, it was a big run for DJ Moore. So
I do just want to point out why arm length matters. It's full 3 yards away. Doesn't matter. He's still touching him. He's still getting him out of the picture. Because, like, look at Wagner's trying to get around it, but he just can't. 36-inch long arms are no joke.
No. And that's the beauty. Like, yes, there are guys in the NFL that can get away with not having extreme length. Willie Colon was a great example of that for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a right tackle. He had very short arms, but he was just a technician in its finest. And that's why he was a starter for 10 years. Mm-hmm. When you got freaks like that, man, you can't teach that shit. That's just freakism as an offensive tackle, man.
All right, my note on this one is that he misses a block. Let's see what that actually means because I don't always remember.
Wee! Olay! I mean...
And guess who makes the tackle?
I think that's the reason that this is a bad rep. Because if Newton never comes back and makes this tackle, nobody cares. Like, this is a fine block if that's the case. Because he's getting movement and, you know, the play's going away from him anyway. I think in this case,
it's his head on the right side and a little more force.
Yeah,
this is going for 10 plus more yards and has a chance to go to the house.
He's just got to cover him up a little more, and some of that's just aiming point. That's all technique stuff that can be taught.
Yeah, like I mean, Rome is still dealing with this guy and this guy if Newton's out of the picture, but there's a chance. Like,
Oh,
there
there's 100% a
is a
chance.
chance. And instead, Newton's the first guy to the tackle,
Mm-hmm.
and he's down there.
Yeah. Yeah, and if Newton's not there, Rome can always cut it back a little more toward the middle of the field too. So even if it doesn't go for 6, I don't know if that play goes for 6, even if Newton doesn't get there. But he's probably getting at least another 10 yards out of that play.
Yeah. Now this next one, he misses his assignment, I think, and I want to hear your thoughts on this because
super slow off the ball too.
Yeah, no, very slow off the ball on this rep. I liked his mirror on this, assuming that he like if he's locked on this guy, I liked his mirror. But out of empty, I have to think, and I could be wrong on this, but I have to think this is supposed to be a free runner. The play's going this way. Caleb needs to get the ball out fast because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the way that I read it, at least. And again, you know this better than I do. That was just my take on it, based on where their eyes are at, where each guy's aiming points are.
Yes, you're correct. You're 100% correct. What needs to happen here is this is where I would want to see Kiran do his vertical drop more than just turn his shoulders and get so wide. Because if he does his vertical drop here, he sees Luvu coming and he can come down and crash on that. Because you're talking, if there's no back, if you have no running back in the backfield, if you have a blitzer, you need to squeeze down and get the blitzer because he's the most dangerous man because he's closer to the quarterback. And then let that end go and let Caleb deal with the end.
And kudos to Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn did a really nice job scheming stuff up to take advantage of Amegadjie's experience and to take advantage of getting Coleman Shelton one-on-one with Deron Payne and Johnny Newton. Like, it was not an easy game for the protections, but that still doesn't excuse it, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, in this case, I want Amegadjie to crash down because then Caleb's at least got a half a second to deal with that D end, and then he can figure
knows
out
what he's dealing with. Like, that's my understanding has always been, if there's a free runner, you want it where the quarterback's looking. You don't want him surprised by it.
Not always so much where the quarterback's looking. It's just whatever's more interior. So the closer it is to the snap of the football, the more important it is. Middle blitzes are always the biggest things you need to cover. B gap blitzes, A gap blitzes. So in this case, because Luvu's coming right through that B gap, I want Kiran coming down, crashing, taking Luvu, and then letting the DN go one-on-one because the DN has 3 additional yards further away from Caleb to run than Luvu does coming from just off the hash mark.
I should say my statement is prefaced with, if your free runner's either here or here, you want it in the quarterback.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You want it where the QB's looking. Absolutely. You are 1,000% correct. And I think they called that. I think that's what this protection's designed to do. Because if you watch, right, Tevin's looking.
It's only a 3-step drop. Like,
right. And Tevin's looking if Wagner's coming. Right. Yeah. So like they're going to pick that up as a part of the slide if that happens. But Amegadjie needs to just identify that, hey, this guy's coming. This is the one time I want to see Amegadjie use his traditional drop. He doesn't use it. I think part of it's because he's laid off the football too, and that doesn't help either. But neither here nor there. Luvu comes free and gets the Caleb.
Yeah. And he got burned on this twice in this game, I believe.
Yeah, and I can't believe Caleb actually got out of that, by the way. I think that's the more impressive part of this is like you had a free blitzer up the B gap, and that wasn't a quarterback sack. Let's nuts.
See how he does this.
That just speaks to Williams' escapability. Something I'm sure we would never see out of Tyson Bagent, Q.
Throwing heat.
But yeah, this is bonkers that he doesn't get him. That anybody doesn't get him.
If anyone watched a lot of Family Guy, Caleb is greased up deaf guy. He is. He's a greased up deaf guy. And there's no one catching him.
Just running around. Nobody's catching him.
He gets a hand on him. How does he get out of this?
Yeah, this is crazy that he gets away. And then like reverses field and still gets away. Crazy.
Look at the pile of 4 commanders on the ground that Caleb leaves in his wake. Like, or maybe that's only 3. Either way.
Either way, it's a commander sandwich.
Love it.
Craziness.
This one, we see Kiran get confused in one way or another. We will find out how that is after our commercial break. Just kidding. Oh, this one. So Robert Schmitz talked about this on his stream last night, that he thinks this is duo. And I'm not sure if I think this is, and he wasn't strong in that conviction. He said maybe it's duo, and that's why he does this. I kind of think that maybe it might just be a misstep, but what are you seeing as far as run concept goes here?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Just because I don't think, even with duo,
because, like, this on this side, this almost looks like they're both
duo.
coming here.
Yeah.
And they're both coming here.
Coming there, and it's one-on-one with the interior guy. But
because of 9-6's hard slant inside, it's like, okay, well, this is not going to work like duo anymore.
Well, and I think, too, on top of it, and maybe this is just my personal opinion on duo, I think duo is a fine play. I hate duo with the back to the side of the quarterback.
Okay.
Because it's such a longer route then for Swift to have to cut up field, rather than him being, even in a pistol set where Caleb's able to just turn around and hand the ball off, because then Swift is just reading his blocks. Whereas here, he needs to come across, and then if the hole evaporates on the outside, or a guy's coming on the outside, he needs to stop, cut up field. Like, it's just not efficient. If this is duo, I don't love running duo out of gun.
Well,
side by side gun
like that. The rules on duo over here when your look is like this? Like, does it just become big on big?
Probably. Again, it depends, and I hate to use that terminology, but it depends, because it depends how it's coached, right? They go over this in the meetings. Hey, if you get this look, if it's 3 for 3 this side, just man up. Like, we had a man up call when I was in college. Like, if guys walked up or however it worked, you would just call out, hey, I don't remember what the call was at the time, but, hey, man. And everybody was just one-on-one. Where this is probably what should happen on that play. But again, because Kiran here's duo and he goes, oh, okay, double teams. Like, we're going to just smash these guys and see what happens here. Again, I think in this instance, duo looks a hell of a lot better for Swift if he's coming across, if Kiran gets that block, because then he's able to get outside potentially toward the far side of the field here. Whereas because of him coming across, Amegadjie doesn't get there. This could just be a coaching element that maybe Amegadjie didn't have reps to do, right?
Yeah.
But again, I also just don't love duo out of side-by-side gun like that, but that's just me personally.
All right, so he dominates on this one. Let's see what that meant.
Love that.
Oh, I think I remember this. Yeah,
God, he's so long. It's not even fair.
Yeah, like, again, it's a speed rusher. Washington has speed rushers without a ton of power.
Yeah.
But he's helpless against Amegadjie's power here, which I love to see. He's not doing it against, Rashawn Gary or something here. Rashawn Gary's got a lot more power than this, or Aiden Hutchinson, or like, some of the more Montez Sweat, just because we all know who Montez Sweat is. But like, still, it's an NFL defensive end who he just completely put the clamps on.
Yeah. No, it's a really good rep. And I mean, you get to almost 4 seconds of full protection with Amegadjie. I think even if Caleb needed more time and moves and slides to the left a little bit, I think Amegadjie's in enough of a position to rebound and make another block. That's just a really good rep. Again, for a guy who's had no practice, just using your raw athletic ability to essentially play left tackle in the NFL, which is not easy to do, as your first game against a very good defensive head coach in Dan Quinn. I like what this is. Like, this is sweet, because that punch is sealing for sure that they're keeping him to the outside, and then he's just got to anchor and move around.
I just love his ability to shuffle those feet underneath his frame there too, and square back up with him and just say, Hey, wherever you're going, I'm going, buddy.
Karan's got that raw just ability to play O-line. Some guys are just gifted like that. I'm jealous of those people. I hate that shit, but I'm just jealous. That's really all it is, Keith. But like he's got it. If he learns any bit of technique, he's going to be at worst a starter in the NFL.
Yeah. And this one, we got the polar opposite. We got him on a whiff.
Olay. Oh, yeah. Well, it's also Luvu. I think that's Luvu in this case. And again, this is also Amegadjie not being fully technically sound yet, because you would hope, knowing Luvu's coming over, Luvu's a linebacker. He's coming with power. Like, he's not a finesse guy. He's not going to try and rush around you. He's a blitzer. Like, he's coming off this play trying to just beat you up and get there as quickly as possible. He needs to know that he's coming with that chop. And maybe he gets there. Maybe if he comes a half second quicker with that other hand, he's able to disrupt it a little more and run him by. But by the time, I mean, Luvu's already chopping his other arm down by the time that second hand even gets onto Luvu's back.
Yeah. I think he was clearly surprised by Luvu's acceleration. Like, you look at his feet, he was rushed. He's almost crossing his feet on both these steps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad drop.
He's rushed by. He wasn't expecting him to get upfield that quickly for
whatever. I mean, I don't know why so many people just sleep on Frankie Luvu. That dude's a monster, and he's continuing to show why. Like, he's a dude. He's a dude. Like, Carolina lost a lot by losing Luvu from their linebacking core, because he's the man, and he's kind of become the man with the Commanders. Like, I know Bobby Wagner's the old vet, but like, Luvu's the dude that's like out there making plays. And
I mean, he's the Micah Parsons role in Dan Quinn's defense,
which is insane, because that's got to be fun for him.
So I almost wonder if Amegadjie thought he had help on the outside here too. He's got inside help, and he's not playing like he has inside help.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he thinks maybe Roshan is going to come to the outside.
Yeah, but I mean, Roshan is there to help on the inside. But like, Roshan looks surprised.
Yeah, well, we don't know if Roshan screwed up either, though. Roshan is a second year back.
Oh yeah, I wasn't trying to place blame on.
Oh no. I'm just saying, like, because we don't know like what Roshan is supposed to do. We leave it up to interpretation. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just a horrible rep from Amegadjie. Mm-hmm. That might just be the case too. You know what I mean? Right, good recovery by Roshan to even get a hand on him, even though Luvu makes the play. But
yeah. Oh, this is Caleb gets out of it.
Caleb gets out of it only to get absolutely eaten up by Daron Payne because everybody stops blocking.
Like, this is like the intro to 80s movie where it's like, what if I told you I ended up 20 yards further back than this?
What if I told you this play went further south than it already did?
Like, I don't know how we got out of that. Okay, so this one, I wasn't sure if I felt good or bad about this one, or if I should just feel like in between about it, which is kind of where I'm sitting at. Obviously, I'm saying I don't know if it's good or bad. Let's see why. So I liked that left hand, that initial left hand, and I felt like his feet slowed down after he landed it, though, and it allowed the guy to kind of turnstile around him, as opposed to him being able to actually get in front and set an anchor. And that, like, he holds up like 3 seconds and a little change, but on the 3-yard line, 4-yard line, I'd like to see more time than that, just as far as like, this is a gotta have it moment when you're backed up like this. So I felt very in between on this, where it's like, technically he gave enough time, but I thought it could have been better.
I think this is the prototypical instance of Kiran Amegadjie needs to get stronger, because I think he has the punch down. I think his lower body is not quite where it needs to be. And you see it. He has no anchor on this play, because that's absolutely the right move. Like, I think you're right in your statement, Q. As he drops here and he feels this end try to kind of crush rush him, he needs to just sit and eat it. But because his feet are so bad, he can't properly set an anchor and he gets walked into Caleb. Because that's the issue here.
this next step, it looks to me like he's starting to set the anchor, but like
He's trying to.
he's not in position to do that. Like
No,
the guy's just going to turnstile him at that point.
He's way too overextended just because his feet are all over the place. And that's again, that's going to become the biggest thing with Amegadjie. If he gets any sense of footwork in the NFL, like if I'm Morgan and Eberflus and Waldron every week, I'm having Amegadjie do 50,000 drop sets with proper technique. Just every single time. Like no bullshit. Like you can come in from practice, little Kiran Amegadjie, once you've done 5,000 drops today. But coach, it's getting dark. No, I'm tired, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. Get out there and do more sets. Like that's all I'd have him doing is footwork because he's got the raw power. He just have him do 100 freaking down block reps on air with proper technique, and like get him on the underneath like the sled or something where he's got to stay low. That's where I am, because really, like everything here, in my opinion, with Amegadjie can be fixed with his footwork.
This was another one he almost sprung out wide. Like this is one of the most like Braxton Jones hangs his hat on these blocks. This is one of the things that you really say Braxton Jones can do that a lot of people can't. And Amegadjie showed twice in this game he can execute these blocks just as well.
I think Amegadjie, once again, he gets his technique and aiming points a little better. I think he'll be almost better than Braxton is at these. Because it's impressive. He gets out there. I don't think this is a bad play by any means. I think because the guy tries to shimmy him, he tries to like break his feet down. Again, if his feet are a little better, I think that solves his aiming point issues. But still a good rep. I mean, it's impressive that he gets out there, 10 yards downfield and still gets a hat on a guy and at least makes contact that allows Swift to gain, another 3-4 yards on the play.
I love it when big guys make little guys run away.
Oh, yeah. There's no better block in football. There's no better block
run in the wrong direction.
And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy here? I'm going to get even crazier. You know what makes this play work even better? If Coleman Shelton can establish his freaking block.
Yeah, no, that's what stopped this play from hitting, I think.
If Shelton gets a clean hat on a play, it's Swift and Darnell Wright 1-on-1, 2-on-1 with the safety. If Shelton gets a decent block. And I think Shelton's fine all the way out there, but then when you feel that guy crossing your face, you just got to bury your body into him. Kind of like Amegadjie does. Just throw your body at him. At that point, you're in open field.
Get his hips around on him. And like you said, he's just got to bury it. Like he's just got to dive at it at that point.
Sometimes, I think Shelton tries too hard to hook guys. When in these instances, when you have a shifty back like Swift who can absolutely cut it back, if you even struggle to start getting there, I'm just getting on his hip and I'm running him. And I'm running him to the sideline. Take him to the bus, coach, because it's time to go home. Like that's exactly what I'm doing if I'm Coleman Shelton there. Because then you at least give the opportunity for a cutback, which Swift almost breaks off.
This one, I said he was hesitant. I think he's not sure if he's in pass pro or run blocking here. Because, I don't know. This is a draw, so maybe. So it's probably not he didn't know, but, he just gives up a little too much ground, I think, and he gets pushed back.
Yeah,
a play gives up that space.
A draw play is 1,000% meant to look like pass.
Yeah.
So I think his drop is fine. Can I appease you with something really quick, Q?
Yeah.
I think Amegadjie looks a hell of a lot better on this play if Coleman Shelton doesn't look like a piece of shit again.
That's true, because then DeAndre Swift isn't cutting it.
There's your lane. If you can draw me a big just pylons in between the pylons here off of Pryor's butt and Shelton's butt, there's your run lane, because Cole Kmet's getting up on the other backer. Yep, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
You and I could run the football through that gap if the block is there.
As long as they can hold up for a solid.
As long as they can hold up for 2.5 seconds, we're good. Gale Sayers needed 18 inches. I need at least 48, but we can get there. And that block was there. Now Swift has to spring it outside. He doesn't get to the end zone. Instead, that play probably is a touchdown if Coleman Shelton can get his fucking block.
You're right.
I know we're looking at Kiran Amegadjie.
This is not a Kiran. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not meant to be piss on Shelton today, but every single fucking play is Amegadjie's block is fine. If Shelton gets his block, this might be a touchdown. That's 2 in a row now. And Shelton's feet are god-awful too.
Oh,
and then he gets olayed by Luvu.
Well, is that Deron Payne or is that 98 who also just like bench
98 absolutely beats the crap out of Tevin too.
Which with Tevin, I liked Tevin's game. Like I thought he played a really nice game, but like PFF, I do not know where they got their numbers for this week for Tev. Like I had him in like a 70 grade. PFF had him the highest graded guard in football, and I did not see that.
Hell no. Absolutely not. Unless it was just that bad of a guard week play.
Maybe, but he's still got a 90. Like it shouldn't be weighted by the week, right?
No, it shouldn't. But yeah, I thought Tev was fine, but I didn't think Tev was that good.
This one, I mean, Amegadjie's late, but he gets his left hand on the chest plate and rides him up. I'd like to see him ride him a little deeper up the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gives more than I want, but he still gives Caleb a chance.
Agreed.
Oh, and this throw by Caleb. I mean, that's gorgeous.
Like, yeah, that's crazy. Throwing it around Tev like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of slinging it sidearm.
But I liked his ability to recover here, though. Again, we saw him take that vertical set that you were talking about, and it cost him a little here. Maybe, you could say his feet were slow to get there, but he recovered on it. He showed that physical ability. Like, he should be done right about here. He's toast.
Yeah, but he stops moving his feet. Because, okay, if you roll it back really quick, the telltale sign that an offensive lineman has bad feet and is dragging his feet, watch the line Amegadjie's right foot draws from the yard line backwards as he drops here. Ready? Big old line in the sand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's when you know he's dragging his feet. If he's not dragging his feet there and he's just trying to run him, I think he does get the proper depth on the run through. Yeah. But he kind of does what I called the Ron Luce freshman year special, which was lunge your body at him and not move your feet.
So you're saying if he drives his feet this way,
yes,
or even
instead of dragging this way, instead of dragging that back foot, even if he just gets on that guy's backside and just physically turns him and runs him, he's at least going to give Caleb another 2 yards, maybe to the outside. Maybe here Caleb doesn't have to step up so much to make the throw. Maybe Caleb can just stand put and still make the same throw. Maybe it's a better throw and Keenan walks into the end zone instead of having to go down to the ground because of the adjustment here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, look at that. That ball's behind Keenan. If Caleb doesn't have to move, that ball is on his numbers and it's in the end zone.
Yeah. This one, he got in trouble for being a little over aggressive, which we saw. He's slow off the ball here too. But so is Tev though, or Kramer, I guess. Yeah, it's Kramer. Everyone else is gone, and
but
they're still there. But
way late.
Yeah, you see, he's going too much in there, and he can't get off because of it. And part of that's because he's late, though.
1,000%. That's just as big of a piece of this. I think because he's so late, because he's late, the D tackle's a yard up the field. So his angle, instead of being forward, is now straight to the side. So now when he's coming down, as he turns his shoulders, he doesn't have an ability to come back and try and get a piece of that guy. If he's on time off the ball, he's making contact with the D tackle the same time Kramer is. Probably has his head up and sees that backer coming a little bit sooner, just a half a second. And he's enough of an athlete where I have a feeling he could get off and at least get a hand on him and make a decent enough block. I think a lot of this tonight that we've seen so far from Amegadjie is just he's constantly putting himself in a bad position because he has to recover from being late off the football.
Right.
That's really what it is. If he's on time, I think a lot of these blocks look a lot better for Amegadjie because he's in the right spot. He's just a freak of nature naturally. He just needs to get more properly sound. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's late there.
See, but even there, he still gets a hand on him.
Yeah.
And he's a half a second sooner on that block that we just watched on the Moore run than the last one we just watched.
Last guy off again.
Yeah, he's the last guy off.
That one, it didn't make a difference, but
no.
Yeah.
He's
There's
just
a
laid
lot
off
to
the
be
football.
excited about with him, though. Like,
oh, for sure. You see the raw talent there. It's just a shame
Mhm.
that they had to rush him into game action. But I think at the same time, it's going to give him a good understanding of what he needs to work on
this
because he's
one,
getting actual game reps and there's real game tape. It's not practice. Yes, a guy can get better from practice film, but I cannot tell you how much defenses cheat in practice, at least from my experience. The best time you're going to get a proper set and a proper jump and a proper alignment is going to be in a game setting. And this is one of I think it sucks that the Bears lost. I think it sucks that Amegadjie largely looked kind of all over the place. But I think he's got now a body of work to say, okay, this is what I need to improve on and get better at. And maybe, just maybe, Braxton's walking next year and I'm the starting left tackle if I get this all together.
he's right on time on this one, and he steals number
Yeah.
6's lunch.
Exactly. When he's on time, he's enough of an athlete to get shit done. But when he's got to constantly recover from him being his own worst enemy, really, it's tough. It's tough on any offensive lineman, let alone a guy who's never seen game action in the NFL and is considered a project tackle.
So, like we said, a lot to be excited about with Amegadjie, but there's a lot of work to get there.